Yeah man, these designs are fire. Red. I don't know why, but recently I've been in a big Kanto sorta mood, and I realized that even in all the character design videos I made so far, for some reason I never talked about Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. Well, I guess I sorta brought them up briefly when I talked about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but when it comes to the difference between the original Generation 1 games and their Generation 3 remakes, yeah, I just never really made that video for some reason, so let's go in and do that now. Starting things off with the protagonist, Red, who we've probably seen the most of out of any character, he's actually got quite a few differences. Beginning with the top, for one thing, his hat is just completely different. Personally, I'm a big fan of the new Pokeball hat, but the original one has its own unique charm. Then after that, you'll notice that they just straight up changed his hair color from black to brown for some reason. I guess maybe it was meant to make him a little more synergistic with Leaf, who also has brown hair. But aside from that, when it comes to Red, he has a similar sort of outfit the rest of the way down, and the expression is also completely changed. Before he had the look of a very determined kid, while now he is a bit more stoic, the personality he's maintained ever since Gold and Silver. I do like the detail that we get to see the VS Seeker on his backpack, and the backpack was also changed to a more definitive yellow to kind of break up the colors, potentially being a reference to Pikachu. Overall, I kind of do like the Fire Red and Leaf Green design better, but I do like that more recently we've gotten some artwork that is an updated version of the original design. Then we get to our rival character Blue, or Green depending on what game you're playing, and his design update is very interesting. For one thing, swapping the colors of the clothing that he's wearing, instead of a blue shirt and black pants, it's now a black shirt and blue pants. They give him a fanny pack for some reason. I guess that is meant to be like a backpack that Red has, but it is less cumbersome, maybe a way to show him as a bit more active. He does also have the sweatbands on his wrist and a short sleeve shirt, which kind of fits how he's always running off ahead after he interacts with you, the player character. And also there's a cool little detail of him holding an Ultra Ball instead of the Pokeball we see with Red. I guess maybe another way of showing that he's always one step ahead of you. When it comes to Professor Oak, he is more or less wearing the same outfit, so here you can really see how a lot of these proportions were updated for these characters. I mean dude, he is so wide. He does also have a more welcoming smile, even waving at you, setting him apart from the iconic scowl in the original artwork. He seems to be holding even more books now, but I do like how that was an element carried over, and even into future depictions. But also they got rid of the slippers that he used to wear. I guess, you know, maybe it contributed to the overall grumpy grandpa vibe that the artwork had, which definitely did not match his character from the video games. He's a lot more enthusiastic. Maybe more so that's the look that he gives Blue whenever he calls him Gramps and tells him to hurry up. Now onto gym leaders, we have Brock, and what is he wearing? I mean, it is a pretty normal outfit, a t-shirt and some jeans, but I think it is really cool too that it even says Nibby Gym on it, which by the way is the name of Pewter City in Japanese, but here it is spelled in English. I think that's a funny detail. But going into Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, this is one of the first times we see him wear orange in his outfit, that being a vest over a black t-shirt with greenish jeans. And that look was very much inspired by his anime depiction, and we would see the orange carry over into future designs. If anything, the original red and blue artwork makes him look a lot more like a kid, but I guess it does also fit as the first gym leader that you encounter, being from a town just down the road through the Viridian Forest. But I will say that definitely when it comes to the usual Pokemon design philosophy, he does not look like a rock type gym leader at all. I mean, overall his basic pose does make him look sturdy like a rock type, I guess, but I just cannot believe he left his house like that even once, t-shirt tucked into the jeans and jeans tucked into the shoes. Then comes Misty, who looks very similar to her later depiction, but if you watched a recent YouTube short on the channel, you'll know that Ken Sugimori basically just drew Misty in a different swimsuit every chance that he got, so I guess that is the main difference between these two. Now she's wearing blue, and I guess that makes it a good counterpart to the red of the original, but some of that red is still in her design in the towel and shoes that she's wearing, and I do like the pose overall. It kind of makes it look like you just walked into the gym after she got done swimming, and so is ready for a battle. Then we get Lieutenant Surge, and in all honesty, I think the original artwork is one of my favorites. He's wearing very similar clothing, and that makes sense. The patch is a little different on his arm, but overall I think what the original has over the new one is that he's just posed a lot better. I don't know what it is, but actually a lot of characters in Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green are depicted from this angle. It being a higher up angle makes it look like they're shorter than the viewer, and I think for a character like Lieutenant Surge that was absolutely not the right choice, because he is supposed to be one of the taller characters in the game, that taken to an extreme in the anime, and I feel that overall the pose makes him look a lot more cocky and rough. Then we get Erika, who is wearing a very different outfit. Very interesting because the red dress is the one that would follow her into many other depictions, but we see that originally she wore a red shirt and a blue dress, and even a headband to match the dress. It does remind me of the anime where she has blue hair and even cooler clothing, but I think the colors that they went with later kind of fits the grass type trainer a little better, but we did actually see the updated colors used in other places of Generation 1, and when you look at a lot of the other art that Erika appears in, especially the trading card game, I think it really is a similar case to Misty where she just has a multitude of different outfits, something that does match the idea of her character. Up next is Koga, and for the most part he's wearing basically the same thing. Of course now he has a scarf that would end up following him, and he changes the style of belt that he's wearing. Also he has kind of bluish greenish hair now to set him apart, but overall I think the basic idea is carried over. For sure I think they basically got it right the first time, but later they decided to show him with the cape at all times, which was actually also present in his sprite. Then comes Sabrina, and oh my gosh, her hair used to be so long. Even though her outfit looks very similar, the old one actually reminds me a lot more of Jessie from Team Rocket in the anime, so I almost wouldn't doubt it if maybe Jessie took some inspiration from Sabrina, given that Sabrina being a member of Team Rocket was something used in the manga, and you know the original sprite resembling Team Rocket with the whip that she's using. But generally between Red and Blue and Fire Red and Leaf Green it's relatively similar. They got rid of the shoulder padding on the old one and kind of moved around some of the gold. There's a bit less of it, she's not wearing the belt anymore and instead it's at the top of her boots. But also very curious, the hair is also a bit different. The bangs and sides were a bit shaggier, but now they're a lot more even. Definitely the posing and facial expression in the newer games makes her look a lot more mysterious, rather than how aggressive that she used to look. And again, I think it is just a case of the angle that they're drawn from. I feel like it's a little more intentional with Sabrina here because I feel like they wanted to get away from the villain idea that they potentially had at the beginning, so I guess here it sort of works out. Then we get to Blaine, and while he's wearing a very similar outfit, his pose and facial expression in the new artwork are just insane. I guess really showing him as a lot more eccentric, the reputation that he was able to build up in those years since, as opposed to just being one of the many other scary adults in the Kanto region. I will definitely give the new design points for the Pokeball tie because that is just amazing. Then we get to Giovanni, who also doesn't really have much of a difference in his outfit, but once again it just has that really weird angle which makes him look a lot shorter. I will give them points for having two versions of this artwork, one being a lot more shadowed, meant to sort of give him that mysterious look, or I guess maybe this is used for the gym leader version, because not many people really know about the gym leader of Viridian City, and I think it's also a cool detail that you can't even see the rocket emblem here. So once again, I think it is a fun idea to have two different versions. But like, come on man, stop using this angle, you're making everybody look like manlets. When it comes to the Elite Four, 3 of them actually don't have artwork from the original games, only having it in Fire Red and Leaf Green, so that is definitely an improvement, though there isn't anything to compare it to before. But I did sort of touch on the designs when we went through Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Though there is some artwork for Lance, and man, why is it so shiny? The new artwork adapts the one that we saw in Pokemon Crystal, going with a jumpsuit that he would use in basically every other game, and establishing a look for Dragon-type trainers. The original, I'm not sure what's going on, because it's a jacket, but also there's a cape on the jacket, and he has the gold shoulder pads to it. He's got a really shiny belt, and the boots stand out a lot more, but also the pose is kind of crazy because he's just standing there. Yes, I know he will look very eccentric later on, just really using his cape, but that's a little more warranted because everything else matches the look and it builds up that idea of what we would have of a Dragon-type trainer. But in the original, he's just standing there, like, yes Lance, we see the fit. An interesting look that they would kind of call back to later on, but I'm just really a fan of Lance's design from Generation 2 onward. So yeah, that has been it for all the designs in Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green when compared to their originals in Red and Blue, or I guess Red and Green so we could actually match. Like I said, very interesting that I never really talked about them before. Well, okay, yes, technically I did bring them up in the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee video, and even probably a bit in the Heart Gold and Soul Silver video too, but now I actually kind of have a definitive discussion comparing the originals and the remakes, and just in time for the re-release of Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, which, oh yeah, that was the reason why this video is coming out now. So let me know what you think in the comments below about all the characters we discussed today, and tell me which one is your favorite, whether it be from the new or the old. Did they have a glow up or a glow down? Also remember to leave a like, subscribe, hype up the video. That one helps a bunch because you guys have been so supportive lately. But for the moment, let me go ahead and shell out my $20 for Pokemon Fire Red so I could re-experience all of this once again. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, including the Great Gators, Super Normal Paranatural, XX Creepy Raw XX, JBOTW23, Paolo Stolben, IRL Lugosi, Miranda Ray, Star Shooter, Alex Switch Shiny Hunts, Koi13, Cemetery Hill, Cheez-It62, Gator Kid 509, TF, Mathaclog947, Taijirai, Phantom, and Quago. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to the brand new emotes for comments and live streams, as well as early videos, our Discord server, and member exclusive videos, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky as well for more memes. Anyway, this is Gatorex, and I will catch you all later.
Energy to burn, power to grow. Pokemon trading card game, EX Fire Red and Leaf Green, with over 100 new cards. Brace yourself for an all-new era of battle. Booster packs sold separately.